Mark, what are your thoughts on another home win for Bradford, 32-18 against Sheffield this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm really pleased. Pleased with the outcome. You know, they're a good side of Sheffield, and we knew that it'd be a really stern test today. As soon as we saw the team sheet, you know, we'd predicted 16 out of the 17 that they'd go with. We predicted the style that they'd come and try and play, and by and large, I thought we dealt with that really well.
How pleased are you with that sort of strong, fast start where almost in the blink of an eye, 15 minutes gone, you're leading by 20 points to nil?
Yeah, really crucial. We said we couldn't invite them to play. You know, we had to get into the arm wrestle early, and we had a process that we needed to stick to. We just needed to be composed and connected, and I thought we were that throughout with the ball. You know, we got a little bit loose in the first half there. And tried to chase, you know, easy points and keep the scoreboard rolling on. But yeah, you know, other than that 10-15 minutes in the first half where we got sloppy, I thought they were pretty clinical throughout.
On that sort of first quarter mark, how pleased are you that on the back of Sheffield's ill discipline, penalties, errors, that you capitalised and you know you turn those gifts into points in the board?
Yeah, but listen, mate, we spoke about we were going to have to be ruthless. You know, when you play good sides, you've got to be ruthless and take the opportunities when they present themselves. And I thought we did that by and large today. As I say, you know, there were a couple. There was one in the corner here where a bit better skill and Matty Dawson-Jones done chasing down, and you know, a couple that went away from us. But by and large, I thought we executed really well, and I thought we were ruthless, particularly in that first 20-25 minutes.
When you mentioned about needing to steady the ship, is that the reason why you used 4 interchanges in that first half, bringing on Appo, Foster? Because normally you don't normally make that many. Yeah,
I just wanted to keep our energy levels. You know, I didn't want us to fall right into a hole and then have to change things. I wanted to try and keep our energy levels as equal as we could throughout the game. And you know, it's no secret that we was missing Bodine and Michael Lawrence, who both do big minutes in the middle. So you know, it gave us a challenge that we needed to react to, and it was the right challenge the right call to do that. So. And
just before half time, there was that crucial set of 6 where you managed to keep them out, which, you know, fundamentally that's the difference between 20 points to 12 or 20 points to 18, 16.
Yeah, listen, I kept radioing down. These people aren't going to go away. They're a good team. They're a really, really good team, and I think they'll be up there. You know, certainly in the playoffs at the end of the year. I think they'll be challenging because, you know, Mark Aston's a good bloke who's been around the game a long time and he knows his football. So, you know, they're a good team. They'll only get better as well. You know, you can tell they train on plastic 4G pitches and have you know, real good facilities there. And when they've got to go in the mud for a few weeks, they may struggle, as I think they did today. But you know, Sheffield will be up there at the back end of the season, and we repelled them, you know, in the last 5 minutes of that first half to go in at 20 points to 12.
We saw a couple of eye-catching tries. I think it was both involving Dec Patton and Tom Holmes, that sort of lovely, sharp inside ball. Is that the evolution of the Bradford Bulls attack era also? You coming to terms with the dimensions and, you know, trying things that are clearly working?
No, it's not to do with that. You know, that was part of the game plan all week. You know, we said they'd come and try and play us down the middle, but we also identified areas where we thought we could get them, you know, moving their middles laterally, and we did that today and come up with two really good tries. So really happy with that.
Your thoughts on the 3 players from Leeds, Leon Ruan, Liam Tyndall, Corey Johnson?
Yeah, I think Leon Ruan will get better as he plays more at this level. All 3 contributed, all 3 committed to the group and were connected with the group. You know, that's the first time Corey Johnson's played first team football for a long time as well, so it'll be better for them minutes. And I thought Liam Tyndall was steady on the wing as well.
Evan Scree mentioned obviously during the week, don't fall in love, you know, he's done that against an NCL side, he come on with that impact and it was almost a carbon copy performance of last week.
I challenged Evan for that. I actually looked him in the eye before the game and says, if you can be as good this week as you was last week, you know, you'll go a long way in the game, and he's just come up with it again. You know, he's not as fit as we want him to be just yet. You know, I want to get him to a spot where he can do 50-60 minutes, but I think the 40 odd minutes that he's done today were absolutely outstanding. And again, you know, he's not played for 8 weeks due to the ban, and he's at the off season. So you know that's his second game of rugby since he got banned at the Widnes game last year. So Eben's only going to get better. He's really enjoying his time at the moment, and I think it's clear for everybody to see.
You had a decision, Ben Blackmore, Fogging Johnston. Was that outside of an injury or?
Yeah, Ben twisted his knee in training on Thursday. Anybody that's seen him here will see he's got a precautionary brace on his knee. He's got a scan booked on Tuesday morning, so we'll know more then. We don't think it's anything too serious, but you know, there's a couple of people that were 60-70%, and Ben Blackmore's one of them. But we don't risk people like that. We don't need to.
Psychologically, Mark, what does this win do? Because you know, no secret, last year 4 wins at Hudsall throughout the entirety of the season. You're now at 5 wins, unbeaten at home in 2023. I mean, that must sort of add to this whole feel-good ethos around the club.
Yeah, I'll give some negative people one less thing to talk about, but listen, we're not getting carried away. You know, we're chalking them off week by week. You know, we're sitting wherever we're sitting in the table, and I'll start looking at the table around about May time. We're doing it tough at this moment in time. You know, we're down on bodies. You know, we're down on troops, and we had to send the team to Hull as well yesterday to play a reserve team game against you know, people like Evans and Dan McIntosh and Jamie Shaw and people like that. So yeah, it's been a real busy weekend. It's been a real tough weekend. We won't get ahead of ourselves. As I always do, I've told the players to enjoy the night with the families. But next week's Derby week, and you know, we all love the Leeds Bradford of yesteryear, but until we can get Leeds Bradford back, Leeds Keighley left to do, and we're really looking forward to it. Any
other injuries to pick up from today at all?
No, clean bill of health today.
Just a couple quick ones, Mark. Obviously yesterday it was the reserve game. What's your message to like your Harry Grays, your Miles Lawfords, your Josh Fogging Juniors, when they're coming up against, you know, your Evans, your Shaws, and they're doing it tough, you know, having 60 points put on them?
Yeah, listen, I drove over to the game after training yesterday, and there was no way disgraced. The scoreline probably flattered Hull a little bit. We've got to set challenges, individual challenges to individual players. So, you know, Lee Beattie spoke really well in the changing room before the game and said, look, some of these players have played NRL, all 3 of them have played International Rugby League, so that's the level you want to be at. Let's have a look now, you know, and there was a few out of the 17 yesterday really stood up. You know, it was absolutely. I was delighted to see Jensen Turgott get back on the field after the trials and tribulations that he's been through over the last few years, and he's done 75 minutes in the middle against you know, an ex-NRL international player. So yeah, there's lots of positives in there. The reserves is what it is. It's the last step of development before you hit the first grade. You know, and that's the way we're using it. So. We're not about scorelines in our development sectors, we're about performances and getting players better. And
just on final from me, Jensen Turgott, how's that come about, Mark?
Yeah, I've known of Jensen for a while. Obviously I think everybody has read in the press about, you know, what went on in his life, and he got my number and he gave me a call a few weeks ago, and we had a real good chat and invited him in and showed him around Tong, and he's got a real genuine desire, you know, after what he's been through, to get back on the field there. Demonstrated that in abundance, and you know, he's a really warm bloke. He's a really nice bloke, and we said, look, let's have a look at you. You can have a look at us, and we put him on trial, and he did himself absolutely no harm yesterday.
So, Mark, you said you're down on numbers, but you've beaten a good Sheffield side. You know, recently you've beaten Toulouse. You've run a very good Featherstone team close. I mean, in terms of where you are, 6 games into the season, you must be very pleased with you know, basically the showing today.
Us coaches are never pleased, Simon. We're never fully pleased. You know, I still think we should be, you know, up there with maybe 6 from 6. You know, we really let ourselves down at York, which is gone, and we let ourselves down at Featherstone as well. We feel like we should have come away with something there. But you know, if you'd have told me this before the season started, I'd have been content. The exciting thing for me is the progression we've got left in is that we're still, you know, developing as a group. I know we're 6 rounds in, but you know, we're still missing key individuals that'll slot back in there as well. So once we're healthy again, fully healthy, and once some combinations have got a little bit more tweaking, and I'm excited to see where this group of players can go.
And that must sort of lift the group when, you know, they can win without Lawrence and Thompson, you know, big players out there. against the team who'd won 4 in a row before that. You know,
And Walker and England.
Walker, yeah, exactly. I was going to say, so you know, they can win without these other players as well.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, it's a different mentality in this group this year, and it's a mentality where we accept any challenge that we're given. We don't, we don't moan and whinge about it. We just get on with it. So, you know, adversity happens in rugby league, and whether it's on the field or off the field, we'll deal with it accordingly and do our very best.
And Thompson will be all right for next weekend, do you think?
Touch and go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still.
Yeah. Listen, he had a head knock, and it's the second one in 2 weeks. It's his third one in the last 10 months, I think. So, the last thing anybody at this club's going to do is risk somebody that's had, potentially a head injury. So, we'll take our time with him. If he's ready, fantastic. He'll be more than welcome back into the group. And if he's not, we'll go without. And we may have to dip into the transfer market this week. We've got a few things bubbling away in the background, and 1 or 2 of them might come off this week as well.
And you're an attractive team to sign for at the moment. You'd like to think?
Yeah. There's plenty out there, that want to come here. We've got to be really diligent, as we've been all pre-season, and look at the right people to fit this group. It's got to be the right demographic, the right person before ability, and then once we've done that, we'll identify if their ability can fit to the team as well. But as I said, people like Jensen in the reserves have done themselves no harm whatsoever.
And obviously, you're building up now for a week against a local derby. You say he's not a Leeds, but to Keighley. I mean, I live in Keighley. I've got 3 seasons ago. I was down our road, and they've been going on about playing the Bulls all season so far. So I mean, it's their cup final in a sense. So it's going to be a sort of strange game to play when you sort of try and play it with a cool head.
Yeah, listen, local derbies are local derbies out there, and I'm not a coach that tells people not to play with passion and pride and things like that. It's about channeling it in the right way. But yeah, we'll go there knowing what it means to Keighley, but more importantly, knowing what it means to the people that stand on the terraces here and pay their hard-earned money to follow us. So I'll make sure that the players are under no illusions of what Derby week means, and we'll be ready to go next weekend. And
probably a bit about Evan Sker. Obviously, you talked about him already. I mean, do you see this as a bit of potentially a breakthrough season for him? Because obviously he's becoming a bigger player than the last season, and now he's at a point where this could be the season when he really takes that step.
I've coached Evan since he was 14-year-old, so I've always known about his ability and his potential. I think we're starting to see it, but the challenge for Evan is doing that week upon week. We can't have stops and starts like he did last year, and little bands here and bands there, etc. But
I think he's learned from that.
Listen, he's maturing. Still a young man. He's still a young man. And everybody here at this club values Evan, knows his potential. And we'll work closely with him. We'll put our arms around him when we need to, and we'll give him a kick up the backside when he needs it as well. But there's nothing but admiration and love for Evan Sker, as there is the rest of the group. Real tight knit group here. And we'll keep working out together.
And presumably you can see that the door's open for him if he responds in the right way.
The door's open for anybody, Simon. If they're of the age where they're legally allowed to play by the RFL, the door's open for anybody at our club to force their way into this. They've got to show the commitment. They've got to show the character to be able to get in the group, and then once they're in it, they've got to keep hold of the shirt.